What's something most people thought you were lying about, but is 100% true? My parents bought me an electric scooter when I was 12 years old that maxed out at like 18 miles per hour. One day I was riding around my neighborhood through the park. I lived across the street, and I stopped to get some water. A slightly overweight, physically disabled man rolls up to me in an electric wheelchair and kindly asks about my scooter. I tell him how fast it goes and that it maneuvered pretty well. He then proceeds to ask me if I wanted to race him in his wheelchair down the street. Well, being an overly cautious kid, I thought it was weird and he might be trying to lure me away from public vision, so I politely declined and said I was going to head home for the day to eat lunch. The man chuckles and reversed away from facing me and kind of gives me a look saying good call. He straightens his wheelchair out onto the path, says something along the lines of no worries, have a good day, be safe, and, I cannot exaggerate this enough, takes off in his electric wheelchair accelerating to at least 25 to 30 miles per hour, substantially faster than my scooter could have handled, and rides away down the block. My jaw dropped and I laughed the entire ride home. I'll never forget the day I thought I was gonna get kidnapped and instead watched a disabled man in a wheelchair take off like the Roadrunner fading into the sunset, never to be seen again.
As a preteen, our computer was on the top floor of the house. I just got done playing Command and Conquer and was shutting off the computer as my mother walked up the stairs behind me. She presumed I was looking at porn, trying to shut off the computer quick. Banned from the computer for a while, it was moved to the living room and was given a talking to by both parents. I did nothing wrong.
When I was in my first year of school at the ripe age of like 4, my class was going to our local church for an Easter sermon. Every kid was encouraged to get an item of food from their parents for a donation for the homeless. I proudly came in with my tin of baked beans, my favorite shit to this day, and put it on our collection table. When it came time to head off to church, everyone picked up their item to carry along, but all that was left was a tin of peas. As a kid, I fucking hated peas, and demanded answers as to where my delicious beans had gone. This one kid, Andrew, was the only one holding a tin of beans, and I lost my shit. No snitch, but you bet I narsed on that motherfucker. Did Mrs. McDonald give a fuck? No sir. She told me I must have gotten mixed up. Everyone backed her up because Andrew was popular and a bean thief. Then they called me the liar. It's been 21 years and I'm still pissed about having to carry those stupid peas down the street. Not that it mattered in the slightest because they were going to the same place, but there's a principle involved. My family didn't even eat peas.
I got a piece of spaghetti in my eye, permanently damaging my cornea. A raw piece of spaghetti flew into my eye like 3 years ago, and it damaged my eye.
Hopefully you've gotten past it now.
Sounds painful.
Story seems a bit far-fetched if you ask me.
I'm pretty sure I've heard this old rotini before.
In jail, we had these homicide victims playing cards. It was a standard deck, and each card had a picture of a person who died of an unsolved homicide. One day, me and a couple of other inmates had been playing a game of Tonk. One of the guys placed the Queen of Hearts face up on the table and said, "Damn, that bitch is ugly." It took me a second, but I realized that was a picture of my mother. I had no idea that she was on these cards. Needless to say, no one at the table believed me. My brother stole $300 from our older sister when we were kids and used it to buy knives and shit from the army surplus. I had saved up $300 from walking dogs so I could buy an iPod, and my mom and sister decided I must have stolen it from her, and it was actually her $300 and I had to return the iPod and give my sister the money. My brother confessed 10 years later, but my whole family just sort of laughed it off, and my mom and sister still bring up me stealing the money in arguments and shit even though we have established it wasn't me.
Your brother owes you an iPod, or even better, a new iPhone.
When I was about 4 and my sister was 9, were sitting in the van waiting for mom. For some reason we have dandelions and my sister says something along the lines of, "I wonder what dandelion music sounds like." Being 4 at the time, I think this is a completely reasonable question, so I stuck my flowers in the car's cassette player. Obviously, the cassette player was not happy with this. For years my family blamed me for breaking the cassette player and didn't believe that my 9-year-old sister told me to do it. Fast forward 20 years and my sister admits that she may have prompted me. Vindicated. Today I learn it, dandelion music sounds a lot like mom screaming.
Everyone doesn't believe me, however I actually pulled a Disney princess and sang to a bird the song, "Once Upon a Dream." The bird flew up to me and landed on my 2 extended fingers all Snow White style. I have no clue why, but it is 100% real. I did this in front of about 10 people. We are all men and we had just finished some extensive military PT.
Just imagine a military guy singing a Disney princess song with a bird on his 2 fingers. All while there's a war happening and 10 people are screaming at you.
I lost my virginity to a girl with 4 nipples.
You fucked a cow.
Don't talk about my mother like that. It took me like 10 to 30 minutes of talking to my sister about how I'm bisexual before she realized I wasn't joking.
She wasn't buying it, huh?
Dude, you're on fire with the puns.